Here are the top stories for today, October 29, 2019. A magnitude 6.6 earthquake leaves damage to North Cotabato and parts of Mindanao. The Quezon City RTC junks the motion of Datu Andal Ampatuan to stop the promulgation of the judgment of the Maguindanao massacre case. President Rodrigo Duterte thanks outgoing Chinese Ambassador Zhao for his role in strengthening the ties of the Philippines and China. And horror creatures take to the streets in a walk for a cause in Calamba, Laguna. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story: weeks after a massive earthquake shook parts of Mindanao, a stronger quake rocked the southern region, causing damage to buildings and panic to hundreds of residents. The earthquake also left several dead and injured. Rom Dulfo has this story.
A magnitude 6.6 quake rocked anew parts of Mindanao at 9:04 a.m., with the epicenter traced in Tulunan, North Cotabato. PHIVOX said the tectonic quake was traced about 26 kilometers northeast of Tulunan. Tuesday's quake was much stronger than the magnitude 6.3 Templar that rocked North Cotabato and other parts of Mindanao on October 16. Strong quake intensities were also felt in the cities of Coronadal, Cotabato, General Santos, Tacurong, Cagayan de Oro, Kidapawan, and Davao, among others. Amidst the trembler, 67-year-old Nestor Narciso of Coronadal City was declared dead on arrival after being hit by a concrete wall that collapsed during the quake. Jesse Riel Parba, 15-year-old 9th grade student of Casuga National High School in Magsaysay, Davao del Sur, also died after he was hit by falling debris. In Tulunan, several students were injured as the Daig Elementary School collapsed. Classes were also suspended on all levels, both private and public schools, until October 30. General Santos City, Samal Island, and Davao City also declared a suspension of classes. The Davao City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office immediately issued a no tsunami advisory to allay fears of city residents. Work in the majority of offices in the city government of Davao was suspended immediately. Compostela Valley Province Governor Tyrone Uy also declared the suspension of all classes throughout the province following the magnitude 6.6 quake. Magsaysay, Davao del Sur Mayor Arthur Davin raised a red alert status in the municipality as it was badly hit by the 6.3 magnitude earthquake. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rob Dulfo.
Malacanang assures that all concerned agencies are on the move in response to the magnitude 6.6 earthquake that struck Mindanao Tuesday morning. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the government is on top of the situation as the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council monitors the situation in Mindanao. He said rescue and relief operations are already ongoing, along with rapid damage assessment in coordination with local government units. The palace appeals for calm as it urged the public to stay vigilant and monitor alert bulletins from the government. Panelo also warned the public against spreading false information that can spread alarm and panic to those already affected by the quake. Malacanang on Monday said the joint oil exploration between the Philippines and China will proceed as long as the terms of the 60-40 sharing scheme is in favor of the Philippines. Last September, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said Duterte is not setting aside the arbitral ruling in favor of a joint oil exploration with China. He also assured that the government will always consider what is beneficial to the Philippines insofar as the terms of reference on the joint oil exploration. Meanwhile, Vice President Leni Robredo, in an interview over ANC, commented that although a joint exploration is allowed under the Constitution, it should be one of the Philippines' most basic demands for China to recognize ownership and sovereignty before any contracts are signed. Panelo acknowledged that China refused to recognize the Philippines' win at the Permanent Court of Arbitration. But regardless of whether China recognized it, he said President Rodrigo Duterte would prefer a joint oil exploration as it would give way to economic activity with China.
We know that China is not recognizing rights over there. In fact, they are saying that it's theirs. But nevertheless, they're open to negotiation. So if it's open, then we will proceed, provided the terms are to our favor.
Rules are being set at the Manila North Cemetery for those who will visit the place during the observance of All Saints' Day and the All Souls' Day. Those who will visit their departed loved ones are prohibited from bringing sharp objects and firearms, as well as flammable materials such as lighters, thinner, perfume, alcohol, and gas. Alcoholic beverages are not allowed, and vehicles and motorcycles cannot park inside the area. Flower vendors are also not allowed to sell inside the cemetery, but will be given spaces outside the main gate entrance. The management of the Manila North Cemetery is reminding all the parents to bring their children in the post, as DSWD and Manila Youth will put a name tag and contact number on the child's name in case they get lost. The CBCP is now accepting online mass offering for those who are living and working abroad, and authorities are on heightened alert to ensure safety of our kababayans this Undas holiday. More on this from Janice Cave.
A total of 4,233 policemen are deployed in Metro Manila to ensure a peaceful and orderly commemoration of the All Saints and All Souls Days. Also on standby are 2 companies of Special Weapons and Tactics, or SWAT, Regional Mobile Force Battalion, as well as police assistance desks to guide commuters and prevent criminals from taking advantage of the crowd. Meanwhile, 33 public transport vehicle personnel tested positive for illegal drug use based on the results of PDEA's random drug test called Oplan Unda Spot. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino said these drivers will undergo rehabilitation process before reclaiming their licenses. In other news, personnel at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport and other ports nationwide are placed on heightened alert amid the ongoing influx and exodus of a large number of passengers who will be going on vacation during the Undas break. The Bureau of Immigration issued the alert directive to prevent human trafficking syndicates from taking advantage of the holiday break. And for those who are working and living overseas, you may now request for prayers for your deceased loved ones through CBCP's Undas Online. Those who want to send their request may go to www.undasonline.com, click the prayer request, and then list down the names of your beloved dead for mass offering. For those who wish to share their blessings, you may click a donate button or give mass stipends, which will be given to the priests who will be celebrating the masses. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Still to come, the Quezon City RTC junks the motion of Datu Andal Ampatuan to stop the promulgation of the judgment of the Maguindanao massacre case. The BFAR warns traders in Bataan against selling shellfish due to red tide. These and more when we return.
The Manila International Airport will rise in Bulacan, just north of Metro Manila. It is envisioned to solve air traffic congestion, which has limited the growth and progress of the Philippines. It will be world-class, a future-ready international gateway. With 4 runways, a state-of-the-art terminal, an express train, and a wide infrastructure network, it will ensure passenger convenience and a seamless travel experience. 3 of the world's top engineering firms have been tapped to ensure its sustainable master planning: Meinhardt Group, Group ADP, and Jacobs Engineering. They are behind some of the world's most renowned airports, including Singapore's Changi Airport. The Manila International Airport will be the ultimate symbol of a modern and dynamic Philippines.
The Quezon City Regional Trial Court has turned down a plea by accused Datu Andal Unsay Ampatuan to put off the promulgation of the court's judgment in the cases arising from the Maguindanao massacre. Judge Jocelyn Soles Reyes of RTC Branch 221 denied Datu Unsay's motion to reopen trial for lack of merit. Ampatuan's lawyers, who had initially asked that the proceedings should be suspended and claimed that prosecution witness Sukarno Badal contacted them through representatives claiming that he would want to recant his testimony and that what he mentioned during the presentation of evidence were not at all true. The panel of prosecutors led by Prosecutor Arthur Velasco objected to the motion, saying there is no newly discovered evidence to justify the reopening of the trial, and the witness himself denied he intends to change his testimony. The Maguindanao massacre, which occurred on November 23, 2009, resulted in the death of 58 individuals, including 32 journalists, the single worst peacetime incident involving attacks on newsmen. Other victims were family members and supporters of the Ampatuan clan's political foe, Esmael Mangudadatu. And in our business news, the parent company of Ocean Adventure is asking the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority not to give the undeveloped portions of its property to prospective investors while a case is still pending in court. This as the SBMA on Monday took over undeveloped portions of property belonging to Ocean Adventure as part of its implementation of contract pre-termination order. Earlier this month, the Subic Bay Marine Exploratorium Incorporated filed a case of illegal termination of contract against the SBMA administration. SBMEI said in its complaint that under its contract with SBMA, the penalty for the supposed violations could have only resulted in the payment of penalty fees, forfeiture of the performance bond in favor of SBMA, and the payment of increased reservation fee for future sites that SBMEI would develop. It also said that SBMA has not approved its master plan submitted in 2009 and alleged that SBMA has been receiving and entertaining proposals from prospective investors seeking to take over the area. The Securities and Exchange Commission has issued a cease and desist order covering the reported illegal activities of 6 online lending operators. The Commission on Bank issued the order on October 24, enjoining the operators and owners of the 6 companies to immediately stop promoting and facilitating unauthorized lending activities. The SEC requires that a lending company be established only as a corporation which cannot perform lending unless granted authority. It further found that the operators have gained access to personal information of borrowers and would use public shaming through text blasts on their indebtedness to their contacts. A number of complainants said the abusive collection practices have cost them depression and sleepless nights, ruined their reputation, and adversely affected their health. The SEC previously issued 3 cease and desist orders covering a total of 42 online lending applications for operating without incorporating and securing a certificate of authority. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board has awarded a notice of compliance to Bacolod City's local public transport route plan to pave the way for the implementation of the PUV modernization program. LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgra III said that for Bacolod, some 22 routes have been identified and validated to cover 2,400 modern vehicle units. Delgra expects to transform the public transport landscape of Bacolod in the next 3 months. The transition period will run until June 2020, after which everything will be mandatory. Earlier, the LTFRB said it would provide a 5% equity, 6% interest in a payment period of 7 years for the modern jeepneys that cost around 1.2 million to 1.8 million pesos. The LTFRB also launched the Super Escolar with the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA. The assistance offered to transport cooperatives will provide their stakeholders with additional training through scholarships and livelihood trainings. Shellfish traders in Bataan were warned on Monday night against selling shellfish due to signs of contamination of red tide. More on this and other news from the provinces from Benj Mondo.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources on Monday night imposed a shellfish ban in Bataan after samples taken from the coastal areas tested positive for paralytic shellfish poison. The BFAR banned the eating, gathering, harvesting, marketing, and transporting of shellfish, including alamang, from the towns of Hermosa, Orani, Samal, Abukay, Pilar, Orion, Limay, Mariveles, and the city of Balanga. Local shellfish traders are hoping that the red tide alert would not last long, as it will affect their earnings for the holidays. In Iloilo City, the police regional office in Western Visayas disposed a total of 221 old, faded, and worn-out PNP uniforms at Camp Delgado. The disposal of the worn-out uniforms was done in adherence to the PNP-issued letter of instruction on Tamang Bihis Alpha. The move was also done in line with the PNP's internal cleansing program. The PNP is provided with uniform allowance every 3 years to replace the old ones. Meanwhile, the Mindanao Development Authority and the Department of the Interior and local government are set to launch the $500 million worth Mindanao Rural Water Supply Project on November 22. The project includes the establishment of solar-powered water supply and desalination facilities in barangays. The project aims to address the scarcity of water supply for drinking and irrigation in remote barangays of Mindanao and Palawan. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Mondo.
Up next, President Duterte thanks outgoing Chinese Ambassador Zhao for his role in strengthening the ties of the Philippines and China. And horror creatures take the streets in a whoop for a cause in Calamba, Laguna. We will be back after a few reminders.
It will raise the country's profile as an investment and tourist spot. The Aerotropolis itself will provide travelers speed and connectivity for business. Because of its high efficiency, it will make air travel more affordable. It will be built at no cost to the government, with no guarantees or subsidies. More importantly, by locating the country's major gateway outside the city, Metro Manila traffic will improve. The Manila International Airport will be a catalyst of growth, development for the Philippines, bringing with it 35 million tourists, more than 1 million jobs, more vibrant local industries, higher exports, more foreign investments, and a better quality of life. It will be built sustainably, taking into consideration its social and environmental impacts. The Manila International Airport, securing sustainable growth for generations to come.
President Rodrigo Duterte on Monday acknowledged outgoing Chinese Ambassador Zhao Jianhua's contributions to the stronger relations between the Philippines and China. In a farewell call held at Malacanang, Duterte thanked Zhao for his key role in the mended ties between Manila and Beijing. Malacanang said the president also wished the Chinese ambassador good luck in his future endeavors. Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andanar earlier announced that Zhao is set to leave Manila for another assignment beginning November. Zhao served as China's ambassador to the Philippines in 2014, a year after Manila lodged a petition against Beijing's claims to the hotly contested South China Sea before the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, Netherlands. Zhao witnessed the mended ties between the two countries under Duterte, who opted to resolve the sea dispute through diplomatic negotiations. And in our 4 news, South Korea and the ASEAN have agreed to expand cooperation in the development of 5G communication networks and artificial intelligence areas. The joint declaration at the Telecommunication and Information Technology Ministers meeting held in the Laotian capital of Vientiane last week outlined a mutual commitment to promote an advanced digital ecosystem between the 10-member ASEAN and South Korea. According to Yonhap News Agency, Seoul has been moving to share its know-how in 5G, artificial intelligence, information and communication technology fields with its ASEAN partners. The Ministry of Science and ICT said the understanding reached will help facilitate the efficient implementation of the master plan on ASEAN in connectivity, as well as the global agenda centered on sustainable development. The MPAC Master Plan is a multi-year roadmap that is aiming for seamless and comprehensive connectivity and integration of ASEAN. The ministry said the latest Telmin talks reaffirmed the close ties between South Korea and ASEAN ahead of the 2019 ASEAN-Korea Commemorative Summit set to take place in Busan in late November. The renovation of the sports facilities inside the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex is expected to be finished 10 days before the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Philippine Sports Commission Chairman William Ramirez on Monday said the Rizal Memorial Coliseum, which underwent major rehabilitation for the first time since 1953, will be finished by November 14. Architect Gerard Lico said the rehabilitation of the 85-year-old Rizal Memorial Coliseum is already at 85%. In 2017, the National Museum and National Historical Commission of the Philippines declared the RMSC as an important cultural posterity and national historical landmark. PSC Commissioner Charles Raymond Maxey said the renovation was made possible after the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation donated 842 million pesos to the PSC. Meanwhile, the Ninoy Aquino Stadium, Tennis Center, and Football Stadium will be ready by November 21st. Low-cost carrier AirAsia launched its Manila-Bacolod flights on Sunday in time for the highlights of the 40th Mascara Festival. The inaugural flight, which arrived at the Bacolod-Silay Airport around 9:40 a.m., was boarded by airline officials led by AirAsia Philippines CEO Ricardo Isla and Chairman Joseph Omar Castillo. AirAsia is flying 3 times daily to Bacolod, or a total of 6 flights, including the return trips to Manila. As of its maiden flight, the budget airline has already booked 10,000 passengers for the Manila-Bacolod until the end of the year. Earlier this year, Mayor Evelio Leonardia has pushed for the entry of a third airline at the Bacolod-Silay Airport in a bid to reduce the airfare rates. This, as frequent flyers from Negros Occidental to Manila had noted the much higher airfare charges in Bacolod compared to that of neighboring cities of Iloilo and Cebu. Residents in Calamba, Laguna were in for an early Halloween treat as the city government on Saturday held a trick-or-treat event. Monsters and horror characters lined up in the streets, raising funds for Calamba's projects for the youth. Janice Cave has the story.
Throngs of spooky and creepy creatures scared scores of city folks and spectators in a Halloween trick-or-treat walk for a cause at the old City Plaza of Calamba, Laguna. The event drew hundreds of costume players from as young as 2 years old to senior citizens, replete with makeup for horror movie characters, zombies, monsters, and other mythical creatures. The fun walk started 7 p.m. Saturday as various youth groups donned in spooky costumes performed their Halloween-themed dance rituals. Now on its second year, the project, dubbed Tabi-Tabi Po, Gabi ng Lagim, Parada ng Mga Nilalang sa Dilim, started as a youth gimmick and pre-Halloween treat. The city cooperatives and livelihood development said the pre-Halloween event was staged to support the youth livelihood and co-op program and promote a culture of entrepreneurship, especially among the Calambeño youths. The Fun Walk for a Cause was held in partnership with the Cultural Affairs, Tourism and Sports Development Department, Sangguniang Kabataan, and the Kalambataan Producers Cooperative as a prelude to the city's observance of All Saints and All Souls Days. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
And here's another look at today's biggest stories. A magnitude 6.6 earthquake leaves damage to North Cotabato and parts of Mindanao. The Quezon City RTC junks the motion of Datu Andal Ampatuan to stop the promulgation of the judgment of the Maguindanao massacre case. President Rodrigo Duterte thanks outgoing Chinese Ambassador Zhao for his role in strengthening the ties of the Philippines and China. And horror creatures take to the streets in a walk for a cause in Calamba, Laguna. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.